So here we are looking at the Burton modified fish, which as you can see from the on the table review is just flat from the tail all the way up to about right here, and then you start to see some rocker. It's got a big old floaty nose, and the modified fish is fun. I like it a lot better than the regular fish because this is more suitable for my shoe size, where the regular fish is like a 26 something cm waist, right around there, and at 26 centimeters that's a little big for a size 9 boot. And so I love the fact that they made the modified fish smaller in waist, but it still has that same kind of ride. Like, the fish really is a fish. If you surf, you know, like the Burton Barracuda is a shortboard. This is a fish. It's more for like a little bit longer, drawn out lines. It feels a little more above the snow. It has a little bit more of a plane. And it's got this, like, it can still slash in the trees and such, but it's just got this kind of like planey, kind of cruisy overall deep powder feel. And you know, is it the board I'd want to be out on a powder day? Probably not for me. For Jack, yes. For me, I loved it, and if this is the only board, I'd have a hell of a time. And it's a great board. But is it the one that I want? Personally, no, I'd probably rather be on the Barracuda. I like that a little bit more. I like that surfy, slashy. I like the camber, the pop off the tail, where this felt a little dead off the tail. And then when I went to groomers, and we had a great powder day today. We had like 2 feet of powder, early season, just really lucky, really good time to test this. And I felt that, like, when we got to the groomers on the way back to the chair, some of the groomers were well groomed, and I wanted to see how it laid out into a carve, and how would it ride after the powder's over. Is this kind of a one board quiver for a free rider? No, I'd say it's pretty boring on groomers. Where I liked the Barracuda a little better, and even better, like the flight attendant. That would be way more fun. Where this is just mainly for powder. This is where it shines. And when we had like some wide open bowls, we were having a blast on this, and this really cruised those bowls really well. So all in all, it's a really good board, and it all just depends on your personal style. I think Jack liked this board a lot.
A lot more, because I ride more cruisy. I just like to cruise. I don't like to pop off too much. And for a powder day, I mean, the stance is set back right with the big nose and the smaller tail. You're already naturally floating up. You don't have to clear legs.
Yeah, no rear leg work.
No rear leg work. And like, this is the modified, so I come from a fish. I love the fishes, and so I'm used to riding a regular fish that's cambered, like said, it's just, it's flat, and so you can really feel the difference, and it's actually a lot more float. It's a lot more float on especially deep powder versus the camber, so that's a good modification for the modified fish, especially for big deep powder days.
Yeah, so all in all, not a good ride favorite, but a really good board. I think it really is. It's just all about personal preference, and like, it got Jack off. It got me off a bit, I wasn't like, it was a chub for me. It was full on erect for you, but we both had a good time with it.